And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to a very special Friday edition of Houston Texans football on the Bleacher Report Network. We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calavillo, dropping daily Houston content on my YouTube channel, 713 Houston Sports. My co host doing the exact same thing, but also does the Astros and Rockets at the lead underscore Houston. Harley, how's it going?
Doing well, man. Doing just fine. Getting into some more Texan stuff, obviously.
Yeah, we're winding down the off season and we're slowly get to start talking about expectations, what this team could potentially become. But before we do that, we want to shout out Bleach Report allowing us to come on here and talk Houston Texans football. Always a big shout out to the man upstairs. Harley, there has been some rumors speculating about the Houston Texans with their eye on the free agent market. There is a account on X, Slick Rick Scoops. Now, shout out to Slick Rick. We want to give him the credit here. His bio: actuary, NFL Shield protector, former insider, and he got a 4 in his AP bio exam. Now, Slick Rick, you might be asking yourself, who is this gentleman? Me and Harley asked the same thing, but when you look at the resume, when you look at his tweets, more times there has been a lot of times, Harley, where the stuff that he has tweeted out as rumors has turned out to be true. And it's not the first time he has broken some Houston Texans rumors, but it's very interesting, especially, this late into the offseason that the Houston Texans are still trying to, add weapons to this offense. So I'll read you the tweet from Slick Rick. The Texans have inquired about free agent running back J.K. Dobbins. There's still distance between the two sides on the money, but something to monitor. Now, if you're arguing about money, to me, Harley, that means not only do the Houston Texans have interest, but J.K. Dobbins and his team does as well. So let's first talk about it. Your reaction to the rumors about the Houston Texans potentially acquiring free agent running back J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the rumor is true or not. Again, I know it's Slick Rick has gotten many of his sources right before, his tweets right before in the past. It's just still tough for me mentally to believe an account that's called Slick Rick Scoops. I'm still very hesitant on whether or not this is real or false. But hey, I did a whole video around it
Mm-hmm.
just yesterday actually. So hey, what do I know? J.K. Dobbins is quite interesting. The Houston Texans running back group, you have Joe Mixon, you got Damian Pierce, you got Woody Marks, Daria Ngumbawale, and then the rest is like practice squad guys.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the running back group, you're thinking, okay, you already have Joe Mixon, you just drafted Woody Marks. Where does J.K. Dobbins ultimately fit? Well, that just tells me if, and again, if this is true, how much belief do they have in Damian Pierce? The kick return game, is it, substantial enough? Does he have enough reps there, kick return wise, even though he's had success? Do they want to make him a kick returner? Besides kick returning, he don't do nothing else on special teams. Compared to Dare. Dare does a whole lot on special teams, and
Can kick a field
he
goal.
yeah, in a pinch, right? But they really like what Dare's done. I don't know why, but they like what Dare has done for them. So um, Dobbins is a fun, interesting choice. Again, he's been sidelined with injuries before this previous year. The bookends of his career. So his rookie year with the Ravens, he was really solid. He was healthy, played about 13 games. Then his last year with the Chargers, I think he played like 15 games. I could have that flipped, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. I have it here for you.
Yeah,
So his rookie year, 2020, with Baltimore, appeared in 15 games,
yeah, 15.
805 yards, 9 tutties. Now,
Mhm.
2022, unfortunately, tore his ACL. Only
Yep.
appeared in 8 games, 520 yards, 2 tutties. 2022, he only appeared in 8 games. Well, hold
Hmm.
on, I'm sorry. 2021 was a torn ACL.
Yeah.
2022, knee issues, appeared in
Yeah.
8 games,
Mhm.
520 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2023, he tore his Achilles on, I believe, week 1 of the
Yes.
season, and it
Yes.
was his first and only carry of 2023. Unfortunately, his time with Baltimore came to an end. I mean, it's understandable, right? He's been
Yeah.
injured, for damn near 3 straight years. So it was a prove it deal for um J.K. Dobbins on the Los Angeles Chargers, and in 13 games, he rushed for 905 yards, 9 touchdowns. He also caught 32 passes for 153 yards. I 100% understand why J.K. Dobbins might want some more money after this season. He took a prove it deal and he proved it. And
Hmm.
when I think about the potential of J.K. Dobbins in this running back room, immediately he's your RB2.
Hmm.
Harley, we've said this many times. We can't remember the last time the Texans had an effective 1-2 punch since Arian Foster and Ben Tate, and we only got 1 year of that. I could see a 1 to 2 year scenario here for J.K. Dobbins. You don't have to rely on him. He's definitely not going to rush for it. Let me see how many times he ran the ball. He's not going to rush for 195 times.
No.
So when you ask me about Damian Pierce, I will say just put him as a kick returner. I think he has done, well in his past 2 seasons. He has one of them, he has, I think, one kickoff return touchdown, but he has about 3 or 4 where he's taking it damn near to the 50. He gives you something there. And when you're talking about going to places where we've never gone before, sniffing the AFC championship, you can have those conversations when you have a dynamic 1-2 punch, and you will have that. And Joe Mixon, who got you 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns, and then potentially J.K. Dobbins, who almost had 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. I would be ecstatic if that got done.
Yeah, I think we also have to take into account Joe Mixon missed some games last year, and during those games he did miss. You had a roulette of running backs because
Mhm.
Damian Pierce was also hurt. Then you had Cam Akers fill in, you had Dare fill in, and you didn't have nothing else after that. So the Texans getting somebody at least interested in
Mhm.
someone like J.K. Dobbins, definitely, I think you need running back depth. I'm always up for it. And then the second thing we got to think of is the identity of the Houston Texans. We know D'Amico Ryans is a defensive minded coach, and
Mhm.
defensive minded coaches love to play hard nosed defense, hard nosed football, damn good defense, and run the football. And what would be so helpful is for CJ Stroud to have a RB1 and 2 duo. Hell, maybe even a 3 if Woody Marks ends up being anything, any sort of impact from him. The Texans could have two solid running backs, a RB1 and 2, like you mentioned, to the likes of Foster and the Ben Tate days. Shout out to Carlos Hyde Duke Johnson. Shout out to them.
I didn't. I didn't. I try. Like I wanted to. Like I even thought about Lamar Miller and Alfred Brew, but but I was like, nah.
That don't even count.
They just didn't hit like Arian
Lamar
Foster
and
and Ben
Alfred don't
Tate.
even count.
But when I look at Joe Mixon and J.K. Dobbins, running backs who can do things not only on the ground but through the air. I see the same thing with Woody Marks, and that's where I feel
Mm.
like Damian Pierce might be the odd man out in that sense. Another, factors that I think could contribute. J.K. Dobbins is from the city of Houston.
Yes, he
He's
is.
from the H. That is important. Another area of you look at where he went to school, the Ohio State University. Now, he didn't play with CJ Stroud, but the Texans hold the Ohio State in high regard. So, the fact that they're talking about money seems like there's just hella interest between the two.
Yeah, and I mean, just because they didn't, play together, they definitely have brushed shoulders at some
For
point
sure.
at Ohio State, at the very least. And yeah, he's from Houston. He went to LaGrange High School, but he is from Houston. And on his off time in the off season, we saw last year before he got signed to the Chargers. He was here working out in Houston. There was a lot of people wondering if he was going to be a Houston Texan last year in the offseason, ended up going to the Chargers, but that's because he has a home here in Houston. So that's always something to think about too. If, let's say, and this is just a hypothetical,
Mm-hmm.
J.K. Dobbins is still out on the market and he's looking at his free agency and he's going, man, I'm not getting the offers that I thought I was going to get. There's not a lot of interest in me. Why don't I just stay home for a year?
Mm.
Why don't I sign with the Texans for another 1 year, another prove it deal? Because this to me is a 1 year deal. Because Nick would love anytime Nick
He's a
Casario gets to
1 year merchant.
sniff. Yeah, man, he gets to sniff a 1 year deal, buddy. He takes it, man. He's taking that to the bank right there. The 1 year deals are great for him.
He's
That
already
is
thinking about the void months.
exactly. Like he's already got it planned. He's got the setup and everything. So yeah, this seems like a 1 year deal. And again, this is just a hypothetical, but again, if don't you if you're gonna play a 1 year deal, don't you want to do it at home where at least you're
Mhm.
comfortable? You don't got to do a whole lot. You don't got to move a whole lot. I don't know his situation
Yeah.
personally, but I mean, his family still lives here in Houston. So that to me seems like oh, you know what? I can do this for a year. It's in Houston. And then plus we're a contender. Like, I know we're not maybe, we're probably trying to scratch to the
Hmm.
top of the AFC, but we're still a contender. This team is still a playoff contender in again an RB 1-2 duo with a damn good defense and a CJ Stroud. If he can return anything like his rookie year, this could be a very, very underrated offense heading into 2025.
If you add on J.K. Dobbins, I would feel entirely different about the offense. I would feel entirely different about the offseason because, essentially you're taking a team's number one rusher. Now, the Los
Mhm.
Angeles Chargers, they bring in Najee Harris, they drop the Marion Hampton. So,
Yeah.
of course, there was no way for J.K. Dobbins to find himself an opportunity in Los Angeles. And, he's 26 years old. I don't know what the future holds for J.K. Dobbins, but I know the future for Joe Mixon, it's only 1 to 2 years left.
Yes.
J.K.
Yes.
Dobbins could essentially, at 26 years old, find himself a role on this Houston Texans team. I just, when you look at some of the good teams, Hardy, they have multiple running backs that can get it done for you. And last year, it was only Joe Mixon. I wish it would have been Damian. You traded away Cam Akers. Dare gave you something, but
Mhm.
we're having an entirely different conversation, and this is J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I'm be like I said, I'm pretty content
How do you
with
think?
the
Like,
Texans.
what's your probability rate of this happening?
Oh shit! Honestly, probably low, like
Mm,
20%.
okay.
I don't think it happens. I really don't. Because again, it is tough for me mentally to trust a source called Slick Rick Scoops.
Slick
But
Rick.
Slick Rick Scoops, even though he's had some big time stuff,
Hmm.
happen in terms of his tweets and stuff. So I mean, we'll see. Usually it's like a week after he tweets it, and then he'll go back and quote tweet. You had it here first or wherever.
Mm.
We'll see. We'll see if this is true or not. We'll see
Well,
how much validity it has. So we'll see.
so if I can give you his latest scoop that turned out to be true,
Yeah.
he tweeted 5 days ago Fred Warner will be signing a record
Yep.
breaking extension with the 49ers.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, quote tweets it, got a Niners scoop right.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see what could have potentially, become. So shout out to Slick Rick. I think he also called he called the George Pickens trade.
Oh yeah, he did. I remember that one.
Okay, Slick Rick, you have our attention. And here's the thing: if they're arguing about money, it means both sides, want a deal. It's just how much you want to fork over. And I have no issue with these guys trying to get as much money as they possibly can. Other than that, Harley, there has been a lot of Houston Texan news because we're getting ready for training camp. We're getting ready for for week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams. I am excited. We got some more, not some more, but after the videos that me and you posted from the season ticket mammoth event, the state of the Texans, a lot of fans are now very excited about the new uniforms coming out.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. I'm kind of curious to see what's going on with
Because I
those
don't even think
jerseys.
the team hardly said they were coming out with new jerseys.
Say it again.
Like, I don't even think the Texans team themselves, like on their any of their official accounts, said new threats are coming. So
Yeah, so I mean, and it's just one rivalry jersey.
yeah.
So it's a jersey they'll wear one time next year in a rivalry game. We're all assuming it's Tennessee because the beef with the owners, or at least Hannah McNair and,
Hmm.
well, the Texans and Titans
Yeah.
organizations, let's be real. And so I'm excited to see what it is. Cal, if Cal was up there by himself, he probably would have revealed the whole jersey and what the plans are
Yep.
for 2027 as well. Guys, my goodness, he was about to he was just going to let spill
Hannah
the
had to stop
beans.
him.
And yeah, so I'm excited. They talked about there's going to be a lot of H-Town pride in the jerseys. And then I think the biggest one was I had a comment on my YouTube channel from somebody that's on the Texans fan council,
Mm.
and they commented on my YouTube channel, and they were like, "Yeah, we've got the scene." He said he can't tell me what it is, but they did get to see a preview and a glimpse of these jerseys, and he said that they look really, really nice.
Did he give
And
you a scheme?
no, I he
Okay.
can't let me know nothing, man.
Oh,
But he did give me like 6 fire emojis, so that has to mean something.
so because I got another one of those so called fan council
Yeah,
members, and then I'll just go ahead and say what they told me. Let me see. Um. Um. Oh wait. No, he didn't say anything either. He's like, unfortunately, I can't say nothing, but I got a sneak peek.
yeah,
Shout out to Boogie Weirdo. Shout out
yeah.
to
That's
him.
the same guy for
Uh,
me too.
okay, hell yeah. So he was let me see. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what those jerseys can potentially come. I'm excited that the Texans are looking at free agents. I'm actually gonna look at free agents on the street, Harley, and see if any of these guys intrigue you, since it sounds like the Houston Texans are still looking at bringing in talent. So
I,
I know we talked we discussed Mr. J.K. Dobbins. But give me 1 second. Okay. I see Gus Edwards available.
pass,
Jamal Williams.
pass,
Nick Chubb.
pass. And I know a lot of fans want Nick Chubb.
Uh,
They seem to be interested in him. Injuries, man. Pass.
dude, I don't know how, but Amir Abdullah is still in the league.
I didn't even know he was still around. My goodness, Nebraska boy.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, that's
Chase.
to me the best option.
Yeah. There's Chase Edmonds, Cam Akers, Deontay Foreman.
Oh, shout out to the former Houston Texan.
Shout out to the former Houston Texan. And that's about it. And running back wise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see nobody else that the Texans would be interested in. I think J.K. Dobbins is the only one there that you can legitimately tell me, oh, okay, he's a 26-year-old running back. Yeah, he's had some injuries, but when he's healthy, he's been able to produce at a pretty good output.
Mm-hmm.
So adding him into the running back room with him and Joe Mixon and Woody Marks, like that's a damn good, to me, it's a very solid three running back options right there. Again, I'd be happy with it.
I'm looking at the wide receiver list. Keelan Allen still available.
Pass.
Amari Cooper still available.
Eh,
Really? Okay.
eh. It's not a pass, but it's not even a It depends. I mean, he's a veteran. He seems like a reliable wide receiver you can have. So, you know,
Gabriel Davis.
no, no. Good lord, the Jaguars they said, you know what, buddy, we'll eat the money and get rid of you.
Ooh.
You know that you're bad.
Man, I wanted this guy so bad a couple of years ago. Jamison Crowder, free agent.
Jameson Crowder. Yeah, I remember. Man, I can't believe he's still out there. Yeah, I actually didn't mind him too much. I thought a veteran slot would be somebody that could actually help a CJ Stroud, but more like down in the depth chart. Your wide receiver group is
This is
it's
solid.
pretty. They got some depth. It's kind of unproven depth, but they got some depth.
Mm. And I'm just looking. I mean, I just outside of those two, position groups, I don't think the Houston Texans need to add anything else. I'm ready, man, for the season. Like this is something. Like I feel like after last year, Harley, it was a punch in the face. It was a punch in the gut. After all the trash talk that we did in the offseason. Myself, I had to eat a lot of crow. I was saying this team's gonna get to the Super Bowl. They're gonna show themselves that they could be in the bright lights. I even had an MVP bid for CJ Stroud and how quickly, we got brought down here to earth. But as of right now, are you satisfied with all the work the Houston Texans have done this offseason?
Ugh. Yeah, I guess I'm satisfied. I wish my answer could be an absolute hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say that I am satisfied. I still feel like there was a lot left. There was a lot of meat on the bone when it came to addressing the offensive line, especially in free agency or even via trade. You grabbed a bunch of guys that are you grabbed quantity, you grabbed a numerous amount of offensive linemen, but how many of them are quality offensive linemen is, for anybody to debate, and some there's no debate, so that's the only one where I'm like, man, I looked at the Chicago Bears and what they did in their offensive line this offseason, and I mean, they're looking at, oh, we just got Joe Thuney. We've transformed the offensive line. We drafted Ozzie Trapilo from Boston College.
Mm.
And, I just was looking at the Bears YouTube, and it's like, oh, yeah, we got Ozzie Trapilo, and he might actually start day one for them at left tackle. And they got a guy in Braxton Jones who actually plays well for them, but he's always hurt. They could
Mm.
look at him to be a trade candidate. And so it made me wonder because he plays left tackle. But it made me kind of wonder, like, man, I'm not done adding talent to the O
Yeah.
line. And I'm at, like, I
I
don't
still
care.
feel like maybe our starter is not on this team.
That's
That's
that
scary.
sucks to say. That sucks to say because it's a five offensive linemen where I'm going, man. I don't know who they're going to trot out there, but I do know everyone gonna make a big old deal when OTAs come around and that O line team, the starters. I put that in quotes because they're not necessarily the starters, but they will be thrown out into the wolves. And every aggregator on Texans Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, that's us. They will be they're going to be going nuts because, oh my god, can you believe this is the starting offensive line for the Houston Texans? Which then I will be like, guys, let's calm down. These are only the guys that they're trotting out, so
Yeah, you don't get serious until you see the pads come on in training camp.
yeah, once I see training camp, there's pads on and everything. All right, now I can legitimately say, okay, are these the day one guys?
If it's
Are
a
they
joint
just
practice.
that too? And I can't wait for the joint practice. I wonder who's coming over. I think it
Oh
was
yeah.
I know Carolina's coming to Houston to play in
What?
preseason. So that would be fun if we're having a joint practice with Carolina. We could see Bryce Young and CJ Stroud together. So that'd be fun.
What team did Michael Hoyt sign with?
Oh, well, he signed with the LA Rams.
Oh, oh.
Oh, no, no,
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
Excuse me,
that was
Buffalo Bills.
I was about to
I'm
say.
sorry. Excuse me.
Oh
I
well,
forgot he
no,
was.
he'll be back from suspension. No,
I think I'm not quite sure, but I hope I give him some extra juice. I hope I gave him some extra juice in the game.
we got a special love for Mike Hoyt. We have a special love for Charles Omenihu. Um, Shout out to the players that Harley beats with.
Yeah, man. Hey, Michael Hoyt. Look, man. I understand that he needs me to give him the juice in order to play in the NFL. He needs me every breath you take. He needs me. Okay, that's exactly what it is. That's what it is right there. Uh, I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's doing okay with the suspension and everything. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this season. I am still concerned with the offensive line. The wide receiver group is quite interesting sometimes because I look at it and I'm like, man, you got Nico, you got Christian Kirk, and you got rookies. And then
Mm.
you sign some two lower tier free agents, and you're really banking that these rookies, albeit two of the top seven, but you're really banking these guys come in and making an impact for your team.
I'm banking on one of them really making an
Yeah,
impact.
for sure.
Um,
I guess that's right.
but it's hard not to think that both of them won't will. Like you hear all the draft experts and the way they talk about them. They love Jaden Higgins. They love Jalen. No,
Mhm.
Jaden Higgins became the highest drafted Iowa State wide receiver ever. And it's like you bring in these two guys that kind of replicate what you already have in Nico Collins, 6'4", Jaden Higgins, 6'4", Tank Dell, Jalen Noel, right? Both in the 5'10" area, but Noel with about 20 more pounds of muscle on him. And you're like, okay,
Mhm.
you see the vision, you see what the Texans are building, and you see that the future of it is secured with these two. So that's what I'm most excited about. Year one, I'm just looking for one of these guys to be, a real threat. Year 4 or 5, both of these guys need to be, your top, in your top three in terms of receiving.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I agree more in terms of that line. It just makes me wonder. You got a lot of injury history with Christian Kirk, so there's that. And
What if
Nico
he gets
Collins
cut?
was say, well, what?
Like, what if, like, okay, like, I know he's not going to, right? But what? Go ahead.
Said Christian Kirk gets cut.
No, I was just like, what if just like, he loses his reps because these young boys, they're just out there, and just making plays. His playtime cut in half. And I don't think that's something, that we shouldn't ignore. But also, I don't think we should ignore the fact that when healthy, Christian Kirk is a pretty damn good slot wide receiver. But if healthy, I think he starts primarily in the slot. I also think they move Jaden Higgins in the slot also.
Yeah, I could see him in the slot a little bit. But I mean, you got Kirk to do that. You have Jalen Noel to do that as well. And then wherever else, if anyone else falls in line, so you got Justin Watson, somebody D'Amico Ryans spoke very highly about at the State of the Texans event.
Hmm.
You have Braxton Berrios, who's a special teamer, but could also play in that slot role as well too. And then whatever the hell you get out of Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie, two guys that are on the bubble in terms of fighting for a roster spot. I think all four of them guys are fighting for a roster spot. I think it's almost guaranteed. You have Nico Collins, the two rookie wide receivers, and I want to throw Christian Kirk almost into that guarantee, but we'll see. But those are four wide receivers right there.
Hmm.
How many are you carrying?
You think 6?
That's what I would think. So who wins out of those? There's two out of the
I
four.
I think I just might think Hutchinson and Mechie are gone. You
I think
know,
so too.
um, unfortunately, C.J. Gardner Johnson didn't get number 8 from John Mechie, as his number will be number 23. So maybe he's just waiting for training camp to see if John Mechie gets cut. But look, John Mechie, it's someone that we know the start of his NFL career was tough. F cancer, and maybe he gets a situation elsewhere where he can
I
blossom.
hope so. I hope
Um,
so. I'm always rooting for him.
yeah, always rooting for John Mechie. Xavier Hutchinson, I mean, hey, we're talking about a late round draft pick here. These they work out, they don't work out. So I think those two are the odd man out. And if that is the case, then Damian Pierce should be worried. So
Yeah.
I am excited once we start getting
Hey
down to
man.
training camp. But Kalen
Wait a
Bullock
minute.
back. What happened?
Okay, you were about to say what I was about to say.
Yeah,
Number two?
Kalen Bullock number 2. USC. His USC number.
I don't like that.
Number
Yeah,
12 is
21,
safety.
dog.
That 21 was tough.
21 is an elite DB number. First of all, I hate talking NFL numbers. I really do. I can't stand the fan conversation around NFL numbers. Maybe I sound like an old dude that's
The
yelling
only
here.
number I hate are the ugly ones.
I really don't. Everyone said Will Anderson had an ugly number.
No, my ugly number is 37. Can't do it.
Shout out to the 37s out there.
Shout out to the 37s. Who are 37s? Kickers, spunners,
In college,
right?
I have no
Um,
clue. Usually it's like your DBs that are like the fifth guy, fourth DB, fifth DB on the roster, you know? Man, I want. Did Sherrick McManus wear
Dude,
37?
that's he's. I'm like, I know there was a 37 on the Texans.
I know there was too. Makes me laugh thinking about it. I don't know why I thought of Sherrick McManus. I think that's wrong, but uh, yeah, no, I have no clue, man. 37 is a wild one. 82 for Jalen Noel, man.
D'Angelo Ross.
There we go. That's what we saw last year. I knew I saw 37 last year. Shout out to D'Angelo Ross stepping in times that you needed him and having himself a decent little day out there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for this Friday's edition of Houston Texans football on the Bleacher Report Network. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calavillo. You already know who that is, Harley. Do me a favor, guys. Have a real blessed rest of your day. And shout out to number 37, the first number that was worn by Arian Foster.